Hi, I'm Scott from Tamarack Shack Antiques and Heckman Auction, and I haven't done a video for a while, and a lot of people ask me what really happened on Pawn Stars, and so this is my Pawn Stars Revealed video. And overall, I had a great time. I learned about how television is actually filmed, and you know, when you get there, the producers try to pump you up. You fly out to Vegas and you get into the building, and when they're ready to film, they actually get everybody out of the pawn shop, there was lots of people, probably 50, 100, I would guess 100 people, and they made them sign a paper if they wanted to be in the background or extras in the scene. And another interesting thing about it was there was a 10 by 20 space. And there was about 10 people in there. A director, assistant director, 3 camera people, 2 sound people, light people, and then there was me and Chumlee. And it was just in a small area where they had all these people. And it's amazing to me how that work is done. And the other thing that amazed me is the cameraman would zoom in, and he literally took 20 minutes or so just doing panning and close-ups of this iron that I brought in at different angles, but at least 20 minutes worth. And then later for transitional shots, after we did the clip, Chumlee and I had to kind of grab the iron as like we were talking about it and turn it or kind of point at it as to show, and I didn't realize all that stuff went in to just doing, and I think it was a 2-minute 36-second shot. Anyway, it took about 4 hours by the time I got there, actually by the time I got in the building and to the finish. The filming was about 2 hours, ending with about, I don't know, like I said, about 2.5 minutes worth of film. I was paid a check and actually did negotiate with Chumlee. When I was in line for my check, there was 2 older ladies that had some fabulous stuff that they were going to sell to the pawn shop, and one had World War I and World War II pins, medals, and more, and the other had some antique scientific items. It surprised me that the show couldn't get more of the items off the street under normal circumstances. I got a choice of a t-shirt as well. But the things I didn't like, there was a lot that I liked, and most of it was in the production because I had never seen it happen and never been involved with it. But there was a lot of stuff I didn't like, and interestingly enough, they actually contacted me. So they sent out an email and they said, hey, we see a lot of interesting stuff on your store, basically. And would you like to come out to Vegas sometime and bring something? And I said, well, I responded, I'd say, yeah, we could do that. My aunt lives in Las Vegas, and I like to go out there. I like to play poker too, but that's another story. But they also chose what they wanted me to sell on the show. So we have between Etsy and eBay, and probably at that time, this was 2015, we had over 5,000 things on eBay or Etsy, and that's what they chose. They chose an iron. It was a gas iron, which I guess is sort of interesting, but we had so many more what I thought were cool items, but that's what they chose. I took some other things out there too, and they wouldn't even look at them. They had already made their decision, and that's what it was. They told me how much to ask. I think on my shop we had it on for $79.95 or something, and they wrote me something, and they said, well, would you ask $100? And I'm like, I guess I can ask whatever you want me to ask, but they said we like to use round numbers. I don't know why that is. It's kind of interesting, but that's one of the other things that happened. But they told me how much to ask. So I was hoping, the reason I went on there, I was hoping to be able to promote my business, talk about what I did or something like that, or maybe even have like a shirt or t-shirt on there. And of course, when I didn't realize I couldn't wear anything after I signed the contract. I also had to act like I was just coming in off the street from, Las Vegas or some surrounding area and just looking to pawn or sell something. You didn't talk about your name, that type of thing. You couldn't tell where you were from. In fact, when we were doing filming, I said, well, back in Wisconsin, they said, cut, we got to do that again. And I said, oh, okay, I didn't realize that. The other thing that I thought was extraordinarily tacky, this was on a Tuesday morning. I got there at about 10 o'clock before waiting in line, and I suppose I got in the building at about 11:30 or so, their time. I got there, and they took me into this back area where they had a lot of, Backstocks, so, just looked like a stockroom area. And then they had a lounge in there. And they actually had another stage or, like, set back there that looked kind of like where you go into the normal store. And it was a lot smaller, but it was like a set where they could do filming. Apparently that's not what they did the day that I was there. They actually filmed in the store. But the point is when I got there, we were sitting there, and I was sitting in this lounge on this couch back there talking with one of the producers, and I hear somebody just swearing like it's a bar time drunk and slurring their words and yelling and just constantly, which I don't really care that much about swearing, but I mean, it was 11:30 in the morning, and I looked and I'm like, who is this? They were just yelling, screaming, and there was a couple, maybe 100 people in the pawn shop in just a room over, and this guy's just cussing. I don't even know what he was saying. It was incoherent. And I look and I'm like, who is it? And it was Chumlee, this short little guy that you see on TV. He looks taller, and he was just slurring. And he was either high, extremely high, or drunk in the middle of the day. Granted, it's Las Vegas. But the show filmed starting late. The filming started late because of that, I'm assuming. Just a guess. And when I interacted with him at first, the crew had to start and restart about 20 times. I'd say something to him, and it looked like he had a glazed over look, and he didn't even react. So then they'd say, okay, try it again. And so I'd say something. A couple times I had to walk in again, pretending like I was walking into the shop. And he just biffed on the responses a lot. I suppose an hour into it, maybe he got some coffee or a Monster or something, and he was a little better then. One thing to his credit, though, was he did show a great interest, almost like a childlike interest in this iron, which I think was kind of neat. And he really looked it over, and he was really interested, and it was genuine. But I also had to explain the item to the producers and Chumlee, and then pretend like I didn't know, which, again, I didn't like. I don't know why Hollywood can't get out of its own way, frankly. But it was an item that I was surprised that they chose. We had 5,000 items, and they choose an iron. For ironing clothes. Now, granted, it was a gas iron. It was something that you put white gas in, and you light it, so I suppose it could have some danger appeal or something. And I also thought it was because maybe they don't get a variety of things, like a pawn shop typically gets coins and gold and guns, I suppose, because they're kind of higher value items, and they might not get a variety, so maybe that's why they did that. Also, it was kind of tacky, out there. There was a guy behind the counter as we were setting up, and he made fun of what I was wearing. He had some, I don't know, whatever he was wearing, but he made fun of me. And I was kind of appalled. I was gonna say something to him, and I didn't because I was trying to be respectful of everybody. But he wasn't very respectful. I don't know. He looked like a $8 an hour guy behind the counter that was there. And another interesting fact was Chumlee's really short, so they had it like this platform that he stands on behind the corner, or behind the counter. The other thing I didn't really like about it was after filming in November 2015, I didn't hear anything. I mean, nothing. And then Chumlee faced this charge in March 2016. They raided his home or something, and he got like a meth or some sort of a drug charge, and then sexual assault charge. I don't know what exactly transpired. I don't think he got any jail time. So I thought, well, maybe because of that, they're not going to film, or they're not going to air it. And I thought maybe the clips didn't make their cut. So anyway, out of the blue, in December of 2016, somebody messaged me on my phone and says, "Hey, I saw you on TV," and I was like, "Really?" And so they saw me on Pawn Stars. They had never made any contact, like, "Hey, we're going to air your clip," or just send an email or a text or something from any of the producers or anybody that I was going to be on, because otherwise I probably would have told friends, family, or something like that when it was airing. So overall, I think it was a great experience. And the fact when you firsthand, you get to see what goes into doing real TV, how much time they take, how many people it takes, the sound. I remember one time we were in the middle of an interaction with Chumlee, and a car alarm outside went off, and the director said, "Oh, you got to do it again." And I'm like, wow, I'm surprised they can't cut that. But they have to have it so perfect for TV, I suppose, high definition or whatever it is, that they couldn't have that. So they tried to redo the clip. There were so many skilled people on the cameras, the lights, and directing. That's something I'll never forget. It's impressive. And when you actually watch TV and you see the back and forth and the reactions and different angles and all that goes into like stunts, or it gives me a greater understanding of what it really takes and how much time all that filming takes. And I can't imagine how many takes the actors actually do. It's impressive in that fact, just from that little 2.5 minute clip that was cut into, well, the couple hours that we did filming. I'll never forget that. But I guess if I could have only interacted with Rick or somebody else, it would have been more interesting. I wasn't that impressed with Chumlee. Anyway, check out our sites, HeckmanAuction.com and TamarackShackAntiques.com. We've got all sorts of different things, and hopefully I'll be doing more videos now coming up. Thank you, and have a great day.